Welcome to the show, everybody. A Super Bowl preview edition of the Farzy Show. Happy Friday. Friday is finally amongst us, and it just means we got one more full day to get. Well, we got to get through today, Friday, obviously. It's only, it's 6:45 in the morning. Very late dealer time start today. And then you're going to get through Saturday, and then it's game day. It's like, talk to your kids. How many sleeps until Christmas? Like that one of those deals? Or how many sleeps until vacation? You know, whatever it is. Oh, my goodness gracious. We go to bed tonight. We go to bed tomorrow night. And then we wake up, and it's Super Bowl Sunday. And then hopefully we go to bed with the Eagles winning their second Super Bowl. And when I say go to bed, I mean we go to bed like early Monday morning, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. after partying, baby. And I've told you all throughout the week, I've had a wonderful feeling about this game. And I saw somebody from the Kansas City fan base, somebody on social media. There's like 12,000 followers or whatever. They have a significant presence on social media. Excuse me. And they were talking about how Eagle fans are really confident going into this game, and they're walking around New Orleans and they're meeting Eagles fans, and all these Eagles fans are feeling really confident about and I'm like, what did you expect? Did you think Eagles fans were going to be timid? Did you think they were going to be scared? They're not scared. They went up against this Kansas City Chiefs team 2 Super Bowls ago now, and they lost by 3 points. They had some horrendous things go wrong for them in that game. The things that you just don't fumble the football. Don't give Patrick Mahomes 7 points. I've said it a million times. You don't do that. Defensive holding call on 3rd and 8 that we've talked about ad nauseum with James Bradbury. You don't do that. The drops in the game from your receivers, well, you don't do that. Like, there are things in that game that you can point at and go, all right, those things that are the abnormal for this Eagles team this year, don't do those things again, and you win this football game. Be the team you have been all year, and you win this football game. And the Kansas City Chiefs won't be able to keep up, to the tune of being able to win this game. I still think it's going to be a hard-fought battle. I still think it's going to be a tough game. I still think we're going to be sweating out the fourth quarter. But I just have this feeling very similarly that I did going into 2017, 2018, when the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Patriots and won their first Super Bowl. Just why not? Just things have gone right for this team all year. Why not one more game? I saw Colin Cowherd, and I like Colin Cowherd. I know some people don't like him, but I like him. And I was listening to him the other day, and he was talking about how the Chiefs almost get bored with the regular season. I hope that's the case, because that's when bad habits start. And it's not bad habits where the Chiefs are all of a sudden going to go in the tank and Patrick Mahomes is going to be terrible or anything like that. But if you're going through a season of just walking through the motions, I don't care who you are. That's who you become. And there's something that Nick Sirianni says a lot. And no, I'm not going to reiterate the can't be great without the greatness of others, which has really seemed to catch on with Saquon Barkley, by the way. But your culture is what your habits are. Your habits are who you are. And that's one thing that Nick Sirianni keeps on practicing and keeps on preaching with this team, is that you are what your habits say you are. Well, if you're going to go through an entire season and be bored, you're going to go through an entire season just doing enough to win games and not control football games like the Eagles have, for instance, throughout the season, then you might be up for a world of hurt going for your 3rd consecutive Super Bowl. And I'm in no way saying that the Kansas City Chiefs are some terrible football team now, or they've started bad habits. They found a way to win in every fourth quarter of this season, with the exception of 2 games. One of those, they didn't even have their starters, the last game of the season. Way to go, Carson. Anyway, I look at this Eagles team, and I see a team that's just ready to pounce. And if you're not going to be ready for this Eagles team, this ain't the Bills, even though he had a Josh Allen MVP playing against the Bills, and they beat them. This whole team has just been so remarkably disciplined this year. If the Kansas City Chiefs are going to play loose at any point, Eagles are ready to pounce. And I don't see the Eagles spotting the Kansas City Chiefs 7 points the way they did 2 Super Bowls ago. I have had a growing amount of confidence that the Eagles are going to win this game. And going back to the comments that were made by some Chiefs super fan, whatever. The Eagles fans are really confident about this game. What do you expect us? Do you expect the Eagles fan to be timid? Do you expect them to be scared? They're feeling pretty damn good about this team going into this Super Bowl, and as they should. We'll get into our Super Bowl preview. And also, you can definitely see it real quick, just on a personal note. Yeah. I was giving my son a hug yesterday, and he decided to completely not face, I guess it's forehead, scratch my forehead. Just went full Wolverine on my forehead. Thanks, Leo. Appreciate it. He was being really sweet, too, going for the hug, and then just all of a sudden, I know, rawr, and like we cut his nails pretty regular, and he just went to town. I was like, I wonder if it'll show. Oh, it shows up. I only have a Super Bowl show to do. You know what I mean? Anyway, we have a Super Bowl preview. Obviously, we'll get into that even more. The key matchups I'm going to be looking at in this game. I have to get it in the first segment because I'm so excited because Eric Allen has so much to do with my Eagles fandom. And Eric Allen got elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame yesterday during the awards ceremony. As I mentioned earlier, Josh Allen got MVP. Patrick Surtain got the Defensive Player of the Year. Eric Allen got into the Hall of Fame. Sterling Sharp also got into the Hall of Fame. Antonio Gates got into the Hall of Fame. Just to name a few. But Eric Allen, for me, is such a big part of how I became an Eagles fan. If you guys have watched the show and listened to me before, I born in Ambler, moved around a bit. By the time I was 11 years old, we were back in the Philadelphia area. So I was removed from like growing up with that like hardcore Eagles fandom thing. Like it just wasn't the thing. Like I always kind of followed the Phillies. I always kind of followed the Sixers and Flyers, but for whatever reason, football just wasn't. I think because we were always doing something on Sundays. I don't know. Football wasn't there for like my very early stages of childhood, I guess. Or I should say for, up until I was 11. So anyway, we go to move back to this area finally into Doylestown. And I'll never forget, we were sitting in the house that my parents were looking at, and the TV was on. And it was a Sunday, obviously. And the Eagles were playing the Jets. And it was one of the first times in my life that I actually sat down and watched football. Like my parents were going over paperwork and all that stuff they do, but they buy a house. And like I said, I was 11 years old. I was sitting on the sofa and I was watching this game. And I was watching this quarterback play. And I was like, oh, wow, this guy's pretty good. Like, oh, wow, this guy's pretty good. And then all of a sudden he got hurt. And I was like, oh, that sucks. Like, oh, that really sucks. And then later in the game, this cornerback picked off a pass and returned it for a touchdown. And I remember watching that, and he ran all over the field. All over the field. I was texting with the guys from our pre- and post-game show, our lead producer, Rob Parker, and he was like, I taped that game, or I filmed that game for NFL Films. And I was like, hey, man, not to make you feel old, but I was 11 years old, and that play has everything to do with how I became an Eagles fan. And he said that Eric Allen ran 200 yards north, south, east, and west on the play. And he pretty much did if you went back and watched it. And Madden and Pat Summerall have the call of it. And he's running all over the place. And then I remember he makes the interception. And I'm like excited now at this point. And I jump up off the sofa and I watch. And what does he do? He runs all the way to the house and finds that quarterback who was Randall Cunningham and hands him the football from his pick six. And I remember at that moment thinking that guy's pretty cool and that quarterback is awesome. And that was my introduction to Philadelphia Eagles football, watching that game. And it was a nothing game in the early goings of the season. And Randall started out on fire. He was like 10 of 13 or 10 of 14, whatever he was, to start that football game. And then Eric Allen has that pick six. And it was absolutely incredible. And I remember that rush. And then I saw when Eric Allen was up for the Hall of Fame, I remember thinking this has got to be, it's got to be now. It's got to be now. He's got to get in. That's such a big part of my childhood, And to see last night that he got in is awesome. And then watch the video. And they come to the house, they knock on the door, and they're like, they're going to be with the greats in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That old speech is absolutely awesome. To continue the good vibes for the Eagles, Saquon Barkley, Offensive Player of the Year, to the surprise of no one. More worthy of the MVP, absolutely. I told you guys all along he would have had to break Eric Dickerson's record to make the MVP, to get the MVP, and unfortunately that just wasn't the case. Very close, obviously, one game away, and he would have been able to do it. But the good vibes are there for the Philadelphia Eagles going into the Super Bowl. Between Eric Allen and Saquon Barkley's recognition for the Offensive Player of the Year, the vibes are certainly there. What I am very happy to report today is that of all the media that was done yesterday, another Jalen Hurts press conference, another Nick Sirianni press conference, other players at the dais and all that stuff, I'm happy to report it's the last day of that. I have one thing I want to get to from yesterday that really had any note for the game, as far as I'm concerned. Nick Sirianni was talking about his introductory press conference yesterday. I'm like, the guy's getting ready to go into his second Super Bowl. Do we really need to bring that up? Anyway, one thing, it has to be with how aggressive Nick Sirianni wants to be in this game when you go up against Patrick Mahomes. So let's get into it. Let's start it off with this, as we're going to talk about the Super Bowl and not the other pomp and pageantry that goes on leading up to the game. It's one of my favorite quotes. I reference it a lot, but Doug Peterson said, there's a game in here somewhere, when he was getting ready for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. There's a game in here somewhere. After all this, after all these banquets and daises and whatever's, a 2-hour practice yesterday for the Eagles, not too bad. After all this, there's a game in here somewhere. So here's the game. The Philadelphia Eagles take on the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59, or as my friend Mike Jarek likes to call it, Super Bowl licks. Anyway, the Kansas City Chiefs 15-2 on the season take on your Philadelphia Eagles 14-3 on the year. Andy Reid going up against Nick Sirianni. So much to get into between these two coaches with the obvious shared history here in Philadelphia. I can remember the meeting that Nick Sirianni had with Andy Reid when Andy Reid came in and took over the Kansas City Chiefs. Nick Sirianni said he would take the meeting. He would go into the meeting with Andy Reid, kind of knowing that he wasn't going to retain his job. But if he could take a meeting with a great coach, he was going to take that meeting with a great coach, and he took that meeting with a great coach. And then Andy Reid fired him. I mean, dismissed him. It was a regime change. But he walked in with a job, walked out without a job. But when you talk about coaching matchups, you're talking about very different styles of coaching. Andy Reid is supposed to be that player's coach. He's supposed to be the guy that we know still here in Philadelphia very well is still that same guy that is in Kansas City, with the difference in delegation. Andy Reid's not afraid to push things off his plate onto somebody else's, and that was a big problem here in Philadelphia, where maybe he took on too much responsibility. It's good to want it, but maybe you shouldn't be the one handling everything. So delegation became a big thing when he went into Kansas City. But when it comes to that locker room leadership, you're looking at two coaches that know how to command that locker room. Going in a little bit further here, the number one person that everybody thinks about when you face Patrick Mahomes, or excuse me, the Kansas City Chiefs, is Patrick Mahomes. Right after that, you think about Travis Kelce. Right after that, you're probably thinking about Chris Jones. Right after that, you're probably thinking about Steve Spagnuolo. And if you're not in that order, it's some semblance of that order, with still Patrick Mahomes probably number one. For me, it all comes down to the fourth quarter with Patrick Mahomes. Whatever the score is in the first quarter, you got to ignore it. You got to push it aside like it doesn't even matter, because you got to keep on pouring on. I would love, and I'm not saying the Commanders are the Chiefs in any way, shape, or form, but I would love for that to be the measuring stick. Just keep pouring it on. Here's the way you have to think, because Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. We're not just ahead. We're ahead right now. We're ahead right now. He's got a scoring drive up his sleeve. He's got a last-minute drive up a last-second throw up his sleeve. He has got that magic, that Mahomes magic that is waiting for the fourth quarter. So whatever you're doing offensively, the question came up from Nick Sirianni yesterday about being more aggressive because Patrick Mahomes. If Nick Sirianni was any more aggressive, I don't think the Eagles would even have a punter on the roster. Like, you can't be more aggressive than he has been. He has been one of the most aggressive coaches in all the NFL over the last few seasons here, especially with the emergence of the tush push. You can't be any more aggressive. But don't go back to what this team was against the Jacksonville Jaguars, where it was aggressive to a fault. And that's when they're playing the Jaguars. Don't do that against the Kansas City Chiefs, because you won't get away with the mistakes you made in that game. Now, that game still haunts me. The Eagles won that game against Jacksonville. But that was just an example of Nick Sirianni being overly aggressive. You can't do that against this Kansas City Chiefs team. So when it came to the idea of aggression, Nick Sirianni got asked about that yesterday. If because he's playing against Patrick Mahomes, Jeff McClain asked the question of Inquirer.com, because he's playing against Patrick Mahomes, will he be even more aggressive than he's been this season?
Every game's a little bit different. There's different factors that go into how you play the game. The flow of the game plays into it. There's so many things that play into it as far as your decision making in game. And so everything will be accounted for, just like as far as the overtime, and just like we do each and every week. Everything's accounted for. Who you're playing against, who you're playing against offensively, who you're playing against defensively, the plays that you have, the players that you have, the analytic charts, all those different things play into it. And we'll see how the game unfolds.
When you have a guy like Nick Sirianni calling plays for you on the defenses, or on the offensive side of the, or not calling plays, but doing the game plan and making the decisions on those fourth downs, those third downs, those 4th and 3s, or 4th and 4s, 4th and 5s, when he's making those decisions to go for it, you can't do it to a fault against this offense, because the mistakes that you make will be cashed in. When you push those chips in the middle of the table, Patrick Mahomes has no problem being like, kind of knew you were bluffing. And then you take the chips. You never want to see that happen. And that's what's happened time and time again with Patrick Mahomes. So I don't want how good he is to affect the Eagles on the offensive side of the ball. That's going to be enough for Vic Fangio. You're going to have one side of the football being concerned with Patrick Mahomes. The other guys, the offensive side of things, they just need to concentrate on their task at hand. The only thing that I would hope the Eagles do is try to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. Long, sustained drives. You've seen Jalen Hurts have his 10-play drives, 15-play drives. You've seen this offense be able to put that together. A 10-minute and 22-second drive that they had earlier in the season. That's what you need to see this Eagles team do in this game. Also, keep the defense fresh for that fourth quarter. When I think about this defense going up against this offense and guys like Xavier Worthy and guys like DeAndre Hopkins and all the guys that Isaiah Pacheco, obviously, and Kareem Hunt, I think about them in the fourth quarter. And I think about the Eagles and the garbage time touchdowns that they have allowed this season. Now, in the Super Bowl, I don't believe in garbage time. Ever since the Falcons blew a 28-3 lead to the New England Patriots and Tom Brady, I don't believe in garbage time. This is an offense that can explode. And that's not anything that's not anything that people don't know. But we've seen it this year, whether it was against the Washington Commanders, whether it was against that Jacksonville team that made it closer than we would have liked. There is no garbage time in the Super Bowl, so that they stay clamped down. The offense obviously has to build that lead, and then the defense has to protect it. When it comes to pressure on Patrick Mahomes, one of the things that still sticks out in my mind is I had never felt more confident about an Eagles pass rush getting home than I did when it came to the Eagles taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, in their previous Super Bowl. 70 sacks during a regular season. 0 in the Super Bowl. I know the turf and the sod father, that was a big conversation after the Eagles lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. To me, yes, they played on the same field, but when you look at a guy like Chris Jones, who is getting the majority of the sacks, what is he, a defensive tackle? What do defensive tackles do? They get the straight-ahead push. Where do the Eagles get the majority of their sacks with Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick? On the edge. What do those guys do to get to the quarterback? Well, they got to get that angle on that pass rush. What are you unable to do on a slippery field? Get that angle. I have more confidence now that the Eagles will be able to get home in this game because you're playing on turf, and because the Eagles' numbers on AstroTurf have on this particular turf has been phenomenal. The first thing that Vic Fangio read to his team going into this Super Bowl when they got there in New Orleans was their numbers on turf, and indoors, and how phenomenal this defense has been. If Vic Fangio is looking to get his first win against Patrick Mahomes, there's no better time to do it than in a Super Bowl, for crying out loud. And there's no better time to do it than on this particular surface. That certainly factors into it. When I look at Nolan Smith, I look at the highest rated pass rusher edge rusher, that is, going into this game in the postseason. I look at how much better he has become. I'm looking at him going up against an offensive line that's going to allow pressure, especially when you talk about the push you could get in the interior of this defensive line from Jalen Carter. Eagles had 70 sacks. They, 41 this year? 70 sacks 2 years ago, 41 this year. I feel a lot better about this Eagles pass rush getting home in this Super Bowl than I did then, or at least coming out of that game. Midway, I was like, well, these guys aren't getting home. And that's not going to improve. They're not going to get better in the third and fourth quarter in this game. So now I look at this game, and I look at the pass rush with the Eagles, how big a game Jalen Carter has to have. I haven't mentioned it yet, but the injury report from yesterday, Brandon Graham, limited. Devontae Smith, hamstring, limited. He's playing. Let me just get that out of the way. And then full participants, Jalen Carter, after dealing with his illness, up and running around. Kenny Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell's had one of the more unsung seasons this year, so it's good to see him. Cam Jurgens obviously was still dealing with the back injury, but he was a full participant in practice yesterday, so your offensive line will be intact. Zach Baum was dealing with a groin injury. He was a full participant yesterday, but the big name on that list, as I mentioned, is Jalen Carter. And pass rush and stopping the run is going to be so amazingly pivotal. I look at last game, or the last Super Bowl, and one of the things that really stuck out to me was Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco in that Super Bowl was all over the field, and he ran with some kind of organized chaos. When you look at the box score, he had 76 rushing yards in that game. That's not all that impressive, but 5.1 yards per carry is pretty impressive. Also had a touchdown in that game. It's a scary thing to think about what he could do out of the backfield. And I know the Eagles have the far better running back, but in terms of those fourth down conversions, in terms of those third down conversions, those back-breaking runs, not huge runs where he's rattling off 30 yards or anything like that, but runs where he's getting you those 15, 10 yards, whatever it might be, to just extend that drive. He's a guy that runs with that organized violence, that organized chaos, if you will. He's certainly a thorn in the Eagles side last time, and they added Kareem Hunt to the mix. So that's something that I'd like to see the Eagles be able to limit. Hi, sweetheart. Good morning. Happy Super Bowl weekend. But yes, you are going to school today. No school yesterday because of the ice. So certainly going to be focused in on that when it comes to this. But all in all, on the offensive side of things, though, for the Eagles, you're going to be like as good as Chris Jones is, as great as Chris Jones is. Eagles have had a stout offensive line throughout this season. When you look at the Super Bowl from 2 years ago, the guy that got into that backfield, the guy that led the team in tackles was Nick Bolton with 9. Tackles for loss, Willie get yes, sweetheart.
When I get down, my back hurts. Your
back hurts when you lay down?
No, when I bend down.
When you bend down, your back hurts. How old are you again?
5.
You're getting up there. Your back's gonna hurt.
Daddy.
Yes, sweetheart.
And also, when you throw me on the bouncy house, I'm not really hurted.
Oh, it's because of the bouncy house? Oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. We won't do the bouncy house for a little bit. All right? Here, go to town on that.
Yay!
All right. We're offensive line. When you look at guys like Nick Bolton, you look at guys
Daddy.
like yes, sweetheart. Okay, I'll talk about that later.
That's fun.
Talk about it now?
Yeah.
I don't think people want to hear about that in the middle of the Super Bowl just yet, sweetheart. But we'll get to it, I promise, all right? She wants me to talk about a date night that my wife and I had last night. It was very nice. Chris Jones, for the most part, though, in the Super Bowl was contained. He didn't get home in the pass rush. Didn't have as much as a tackle for loss. I feel like this Eagles offensive line, even with Jason Kelce playing as well as he was playing that year, as great as he was that year, I feel like this offensive line is playing at a much higher level than they did a year or 2 years ago. And Cam Jurgens has been able to do everything physically throughout this season. His communication that Jason Kelce did, if not at the next level. And then also the communication between him and Jalen Hurts which was something that I was concerned with going into this season, Jalen Hurts has taken over the majority of the pre-snap reads and done a phenomenal job with it. I mean, they have not missed a beat as an offensive line, and they're playing at such an extremely high level, and their confidence is off the charts. So when people talk about concerns of Chris Jones, or keeping their eyes on Chris Jones, or keeping their eyes on even Karlaftis, for instance, who was their leading sacker this year, I look at Lane Johnson, I look at Jordan Mailata, and I said, yeah, they got this. Mostly Lane Johnson, because that's where Karlaftis lines up. This is supposed to be a big strength of the Kansas City Chiefs defense. Huge strength. And I feel like it's almost nullified by how well this offensive line is playing. And you could talk about Jalen Hurts taking sacks, not throwing the football away. You could talk about him potentially getting lit up on a play or two. But for me, I think he has played very smart football. And one of the things that I really took away from the Washington Commanders game versus the Packers game, for instance, like he just, when it wasn't snowing like crazy, when he felt confident in being able to get rid of the football, Jalen Hurts, he did it. He threw against the Commanders. He threw the football away. He slid. He played smart football, and he's been playing smart football. The Packers game was wild to me in that you saw him take a lot of sacks. You saw some breakdowns there, offensively speaking. But all in all, watching Jalen Hurts play football throughout this year, really ever since they came back from the bye week, I know everyone's talking about how great the run game has been. Excuse me, against the Rams, not the Packers. But he ate a lot of sacks in that game 7, obviously, as we know. But he did that all in the efforts of protecting the football. Since the Eagles came back from the bye and they ran the football as much as they did, and Saquon Barkley has had the success that he has had this year. The other thing that people focused on is the lack of numbers from Jalen Hurts. The bigger thing for me when it comes to Jalen Hurts, you talk about lack of numbers, how about lack of turnovers? Again, it's going to come down to how many opportunities you're going to give the Kansas City Chiefs offense to score. So turnovers can't happen. And if there's anything that this team has improved upon from their last meeting, and Jalen Hurts has improved upon from their last meeting, is turnovers. So I look at a defensive line that everyone shudders at. I look at a defense with Steve Spagnuolo that everybody respects, and I do. But Jalen Hurts in a Super Bowl has put up numbers against that Steve Spagnuolo defense. And they did that without Saquon Barkley coming out of their backfield. I don't see how anyone can look at this game and think that this is clearly going to be a Chiefs win. And I know that's the way a lot of the national pundits are going, and anyone who's absolutely 100% objective, I understand where they might think the Chiefs, but to me, this is the Eagles' game to lose because all the history that goes into it doesn't matter. If we learned anything from 2017, it's that as great as you might have been leading up to the moment, if you're not great in the moment, you're going to lose. The Patriots were not great in the moment. The Eagles were phenomenal in the moment. And you don't need a history lesson. Talk about Nick Foles and Halapoulivaati Vaitai tackle in that game. Like you don't need Corey Clement, 100 yards receiving in that game for a rookie. What happened? Lightning in a bottle, you could certainly say it. But bottom line is they balled out against a dynasty. Now the Eagles have another opportunity to deny another dynasty of a third consecutive Super Bowl. Hey, look, will the Chiefs be back here? Sure. The Eagles should be back. The Eagles should be back here next year, too. Like that's a crazy feeling I've had all throughout this week, not just reflecting on the history of the Philadelphia Eagles, even pre-Super Bowl era, but the fact that you almost have this feeling of, okay, well, they'll be back again. Like, this is our life now. The Eagles go to the Super Bowl. This is our life now. But when I look at this particular matchup, the Chiefs have not been great this year. They have not been dominant this year. The defense that everyone's supposed to be scared of hasn't been that great. You can talk about the fourth best run defense in the league. The Eagles have run over teams with higher rankings in the run defense throughout the season, the Baltimore Ravens being one of them. I don't know how you can look at this game and just think it's a clear-cut Kansas City Chiefs win. This is the Eagles' game to lose. They are the better football team. I don't experience. Oh, they're more experienced. What are we talking about here? Experience? The Eagles have been to a Super Bowl. I know the Chiefs They've what, been to 4 now? 5? This will be their 5th with this core. That's pretty special. I get it. But all that goes out the window. All that goes out the window on Sunday. The experience for me, that ain't going to matter. So you mean to tell me that Saquon Barkley hasn't been in the Super Bowl, so he's all of a sudden going to be terrible? I don't think so. Everyone has tried to stop Saquon Barkley throughout this season. Everybody. It's just a matter of time. He could be averaging 2 yards a carry, and then all of a sudden there's a 70-yard run to open up the second half. Like, that's just what he's done. He's a home run hitter. And then you couple that with the weapons on this offense between A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts' ability both in the pass and run game. And you look at what he could do with Dallas Goedert. I mean, even Grant Calcaterra stepped up and had himself a decent season. Kenny Gainwell has come in. That's why I wanted to make sure I referenced him as well. Kenny Gainwell has come off the bench for the Eagles this year to give Saquon Barkley a rest. The next thing you know, he's rattling off 10-yard runs, 14-yard runs, 17-yard runs. If there was ever a team that was going to upset the world, it would be this Eagles team. 1.5 underdogs going into this one. Yes, sweetheart? What is that? That's a dinosaur wearing a tutu? All right, let me see that. There we go. Thank you, sweetheart. Can you draw a football? Yes? Was that from Rory? That's not good. Rory scratched you? Leo got me. See my cut?
Yeah, 2 cuts.
2 cut. 3 cuts, actually. 1, 2, 3. There you go. So, yeah. I still have the Eagles. I still have, put it this way, I still have us on Broad Street. That's what I have. In a great celebration. I still see the Eagles winning this football game. Again, I've said all week long, I haven't moved off it. I see this being a 27-23, 27-24 Eagles win. And we party on Broad Street. Now, for Eagles coverage, we will be at Parks Casino, as we have been all year. Ray Dininger will join the show. Seth Joyner, myself, Derek Gunn, and the great Ray Dininger will be joining the coverage as well. So, ratings bonanza, as far as I'm concerned. And throughout the year, I just appreciate everybody's support of that show. We have had such a blast. As far as other breakdowns here, Chiefs 15th in scoring this season to the Eagles 7th in scoring, 27.2 points per game for the Eagles, 22.6 for the Chiefs. Points. 1 second, sweetheart. Eagles second fewest points allowed. Patriots 4th. Chiefs 4th fewest points allowed, 17.8 to 19.2. Takeaway differential, Eagles plus 11. Chiefs plus 6. And there's that run defense again. The 8th best rush defense in the NFL for the Kansas City Chiefs, 101. Not too bad. Is that a football?
No.
You put a face on a football?
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
But it's a big football.
That's nice, sweetheart. Good job. Let's get into first, let me tell you about the amazing people at the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Game Time app has you covered. Also, don't forget about the Game Time Picks feature on the Game Time app. You know what that does? That filters out all the fluff, so you get right down to it. The best seats at the best prices on the Game Time app. Literally, don't have to funnel through thousands of tickets. You can just get right down to it. The best seats at the best prices, because that's what you really want. And also, don't forget to toggle the all-in pricing feature, which allows you to go through and see the price that you're going to pay at checkout. Yeah, there's no sticker shock. There's no, whoa, how do these $20 tickets become $30? No. Not on the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Now let's get into the chat check and see. God bless you. God bless you, sweetheart. April, good morning. Let's bleep and go. Absolutely. Wine Niners 9. Wine, what's going on? Good morning, everyone. Ren is due. Heck yeah, Sean Kilrain. Twiz, good morning. Wine and Sean, everyone's saying good morning, morning. Sean Gillespie, what's popping? Twiz, I got a feeling this game won't be close. Ooh. In the Eagles' favor? What are we? Let me go back on something here. Excuse me. Going into the here you go. Yes, you do.
I don't
Sniffles.
need it.
Yes, you do, Sniffles.
I am not sniffling.
I believe they're sniffling. There's an audience of people that says you're sniffling. Is she sniffling? She was sniffling. There it is. What the heck? Oh, that's not what I want. Okay. You're going to draw right there? All right. It's pretty much your show now anyway. Malik, what's going on, Malik? Go Birds. Go Birds. Sean Gillespie, Fly Eagles Fly. Brian Wattington. Farzy, hello. Dev, what's up, Dev? Morning, Farzy. As much as I want to blow out, I think this will be a stressful, anxiety-filled whirlwind of a game. Back and forth, I think we win 28-24. I think a lot of us are in that same boat. Kids are fun. Has he headbutted you yet? No, but he did crack me in the eye. So yesterday, the kids had a school day, so I was solo parenting. Wife had to go out into the office. And Leo, of course, ran into our bedroom, locked the door. I went up. Muddlers, would you mind just taking that on the ground, please?
No.
Just because it's making noise into the microphone.
No.
All right. So I finally went in. He hid under a bed. I couldn't get him. And because I'm not the size of a 3-year-old. And then I finally got him. And when I got him and picked him up, he cracked me right in the eye. And it's amazing. I don't have a black eye or anything, but I do have a mere flesh wound. JB, Colin Cowherd seems like the type of guy that put a body kit on a Pontiac what? And told everyone it was a Ferrari. That's funny. If I was a car guy, I would laugh harder at that. Extra 5 minutes in makeup chair for Farsi. Yeah, pretty much. Leo Scissorhands. That's great. Wild Bear 513 or 513. Yeah. What's up? What's up, Wild Bear? Sean Kilren, hello. Man, so happy for Eric. Oh, I will never forget that game as long as I live. And I remember thinking, wow, I wish that, because I think Bubby Brister came into the game after that. And then I'll never forget watching Randall Cunningham for the first time, and he didn't even have a scramble yet in that game. And I just remember watching him being like, wow, I like this guy. And then that was 1993. And then I remember Eric Allen coming up with the interception and then running the ball back to Randall and handing him the ball. And I'm like, wow, they must think this guy's cool too. Up, sniffle, clear and present sniffle.
Yeah,
Step away, blow your nose, toots. What is that?
It's wrong.
There it is. All right. Sean Kilrain, the Super Bowl will be special knowing we're in the big game again, 2017. Oh, dude, who's a diehard fan, the year we won. Sean says, in 2017, I lost my dad, who was a diehard fan the year we won. I know he'll be looking down on us. Or on his Eagles, yes. I think, hey, man, when the Eagles won in 2017, I had a cousin who passed away a year prior, and I think we all think of that person. He was a season ticket holder, 700 level, going back all the way then, and that's the first person I thought of. I thought of Cousin Joey. Great to see it. Been long overdue, Twiz. Hell yeah. Been wearing the Concrete Charlie jersey like it's yes, sweetheart. Not yet. How about you want to say go Birds? Can you say go Birds?
Go back.
Wow, that was almost too good. You worry me with that. Good job. You got to wear your Eagles. You wearing your Eagles jersey today to school? You and Leo got to wear Eagles stuff to school today. You get to wear your Little Toots jersey. Then Uncle Trey got you. Trey Thomas got her when we worked together. He got her a Little Toots jersey. She finally fits into it. Little Toots number 72. You could play on the O line. You're big. In the best way. All right. Okay, Madelos. Emanuela. Thank you, sweetheart. Randall, Eric, Reggie, Buddy, Ryan. Revived my Eagles enthusiasm, says Sean Gillespie. Chico English Senior. What's up, Chico? Morning, bro. Love your pocket. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Don't want to see us up 2 scores and we let Mahomes back in the game playing soft in coverage. Exactly where I was going with that. Thank you. So hyped for the Super Bowl. Absolutely. Why Niners wine. My Super Bowl prediction, whoever has the ball last wins, score 3/4 difference, 3/4 difference. Hopefully Barkley just literally runs the clock out so Pat can't be Pat. I would love for that to be the case. Scared of that artificial turf. The Eagles have been phenomenal on that artificial turf. Excuse me, sweetheart. I need to get this keyboard. Thank you. I thought I did this.
Is that the Native Americans?
Is that the Native Americans?
Wait, somebody showing their.
That was somebody. This is she. I have a Twitter up or X or whatever, and somebody was getting arrested and they had their butt out. The internet, man. The internet. Am I right? Whatever. But the numbers have been fantastic. No Eagles media is talking about no matter who wins the game, Eagles organization won. Reed, best coach in the NFL history, and Jeff found him as a quarterback coach. Yeah. That's a good story.
That's a good story.
Wait, what is Sean Kellner? Eagles, Chiefs offense since 2019. There's a lot of numbers there. People can look at that. Oh, Jason A says, good morning, Little Toots. Good morning, Little Toots. Think Tank. All right. Continue 70% of the defense. Think Tank. Good morning, Jason A. Little Toots, good morning. She getting growing pains, Farsi. Yeah, growing pains. No, we were roughhousing on the bounce house the other day. And she took a hit like a champ. Not from me. I threw her into the bounce house. Landed awkwardly.
And
maybe a little turf toe. Maybe a little bounce house toe.
Or with an ouchie on my back, because that really happened.
Okay. Jason, great. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Real star of the channel. Yeah. They're calling you the real star of the channel. Lou Skylifter, happy Super Bowl weekend, everyone. Monday we wake up as champions. Ooh, who should give the Super Bowl speech? Wow, who would steal that show?
Dad,
Who would yes, sweetheart.
Can you go up to and somebody's getting arrested because I raised
What? Somebody's getting arrested?
Yeah.
No, they're not. Well, probably somewhere in the world, yes, but we had a police officer knock on our door last night.
Yeah. And they're saying about the dog running with like a
there was a black dog with a white belly running around our neighborhood, and the police officer knocked on our door, which is always a thrill to be like, oh, the cops are here. And hide the stuff. No. So I answered the door and it's like, hey, do you guys have a dog? And I was like, no, we don't have a dog. And they go, well, there's a black dog with a white belly running around, and it could cause an accident on one of the nearby streets. And they're like, I don't know. And they go, do you know who owns it? I go, I don't know. I don't.
I know.
Nothing. Oh, who owns the dog?
Our neighbor with
they have golden retrievers.
No, they don't.
Yes, mommy said they had golden retrievers.
No, they don't.
What kind of dogs do they have then? What kind of dog was a police officer looking for last night? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Well, what dog?
A white belly and black.
No, they said a specific kind of dog. What kind of dog? Yeah, that's what I thought. Daddy's still undefeated. All right. Juergens playing a season at right guard next to Kelsey helped him greatly. I would agree with that, JB. Jason A. We need this ring so much more than the Chiefs, and the only one feel bad for the Chiefs is DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, that'd be a Chief to feel bad for. I get that. Shayna Moon. What's happening? Good morning, everyone. Fly, Eagles, fly. Road to the Super Bowl victory. Hell yeah. 34-21. Eagles, Sean Kilrain. I am so tempted to go that direction, Sean. Like, because everything we've seen this year from the Chiefs and the Eagles would show you that the Eagles would dominate this game. But it is Patrick Mahomes. This is the Eagles' third Super Bowl in less than 3 years. Please, people need to put some respect on our name. I'd say that's experience.
This is so old. It's gonna fall off soon.
April says good morning. Say good morning, April.
Good morning, April.
I do not think Covey is back. Let me see this here. Oh, he was a full participant. Yeah, they got asked about that earlier in the week. Jack's dad?
Uh-huh.
What about Jack's dad?
Jack's dad has a letter J in his first letter.
No, he doesn't.
What?
His name is Sean. I'm just owning you in arguments today. John Messina, Eagles 31-17. Love it. Ooh, very low scoring first half. All defense, says Daz. All right. 28-17. Defense going to hold down. Oh, yep. See, everyone's saying you sniffed. You sniffled. You absolutely sniffled. Daz, you're about to put your kid on IR. Why do kids hate to blow their nose? I don't know. April. Sean Gillespie, babies beating up their parents. Truly living the Simpsons world, right, Sean? Look, I just saw you wipe your nose. You little liar. Oh, if only I had a box of tissues right here. Go take a walk, blow your nose. Dude, pick that up, please.
No.
Anyway. Ooh, drop the middle name. Emanuela May Farzetta. Blow your nose, dude. Oh, Josh. Oh, I saw in the Action News. Josh Harris was there at the MVP awards. They didn't show him on camera, but he was there. They referenced him.
Ow.
What do you mean, ow? What do you mean, ow? Stop doing that. What if that hurts? Don't do that.
Daddy, can I have a jingle for
Ooh, anyone? I don't have any water down here.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Boop.
That's old. That's old water. That's old water. You want some espresso? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Ow, my back hurts. I can't sit down. I can't stand.
Madonna mia. What is happening? Daz, Landon Dickerson gets a shout out. Absolutely. I mean, the entire offensive line is just so dominant.
Somebody.
Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Hey, the 76ers did nothing. I guess they at least kept your Gershon Yabusele, so that's good. Yep. I mean, whoa.
This is so soft.
Thank you. Yes, it's a microphone.
I want to touch it more.
Okay. All right. When you have your own show, which you pretty much do now by this point anyway, it's now a Little Touch program. But yeah, Sixers did nothing, but they're back at it tonight against the Detroit Pistons. 7:30 start time in the Motor City. Whoopity-doo. Flyers, they wet the bed again last night. They lost. Not even a point, unfortunately, this time against the Capitals. They lost 4-3. They got the Penguins tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in South Philly. Tomorrow, the Philadelphia Wings play at 1 o'clock. So I'll be down at the Wells Fargo Center for a Wings game. You guys should come on down for that. Folks, this is the Super Bowl show for your Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59.
Push that in.
Sunday. Kickoff 6:33.
Oh,
All right, I'm just wrapping up the show. Can you give me 30 seconds of silence? Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Throughout this entire season, the big thing I've noticed with the Chiefs, figuring as the Eagles were having this splendid season, the big thing that I noticed was that they just Monolutes.
I have the yard.
Thank you very much. Eagles are going to win this game. I strongly believe they're going to win this game. I think they are going to be the toughest opponent Kansas City has had to face all season long. And anything that has been rolled in front of the Philadelphia Eagles as any kind of challenge, they have risen to the occasion to, for the most part, dominate this year. And I told you guys before this season that the point differential, Monolutes. Hey, Silencio. But I've been telling you all season long that the Philadelphia Eagles throughout this year have just controlled games. The point differential is never a big thing for me. But last year, my major takeaway from the Eagles was they never controlled games. It was going to lead to an unfortunate ending. And then this Kansas City Chiefs team has been terrible when it comes to point differential. God bless you. And I feel like the Eagles have been the team that has been lying in wait to show them who the boss is. And this is the game I feel the Eagles prove that. I would love to say it's going to be a blowout. I have too much respect for the Kansas City Chiefs to say that, or a comfortable win, not a blowout, but a comfortable win. But I got too much respect for Steve Spagnuolo. I have too much respect for Andy Reid and having his team prepared. And I got too much respect for the talent on the Kansas City Chiefs roster. But with that being said, the Eagles are going to win this game. They're going to win their second Super Bowl, and they're going to win this game by a score of 27-24. It ain't going to be comfortable, but it'll be joyous. See you guys on Monday. Well, see you guys on Sunday for pre and post game on the Set Joiner Show YouTube channel. And then I'll see you guys again on Monday for the Farzy Show. Until then, like and subscribe to the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to the Jacob Media YouTube channel. And like and subscribe to the Set Joiner Show YouTube channel as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Emmanuel, can you say go Birds?
Go big.
Well, that's pretty dope.
Have a wonderful weekend. Go Birds.